Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Final Fantasy XIV playthrough video where we are finally beginning and ending the Tale of the Star with Endwalker. I'm so excited and I hope you guys are as well. As always, it's time for a little recap, though I won't be covering the entirety of the Shadowbringers expansion because I'd probably be here for a week, but I do highly recommend you guys check out my Shadowbringers cinematic recap if you haven't caught that one yet. It's linked in the description below. So last time in Shadowbringers, after defeating Elidibus in 5.3 and saying goodbye to the Crystal Exarch in the first, the Scions returned to the source where the Warrior of Light awoke G'raha from the Crystal Tower and he joined us in our continuing adventures back home. Now if you remember Alisaie's familiar named Angelo, the flying Dumbo thing, yeah, she was stone set on finding a cure for those who had been tempered by primals. This took us on a journey from Azisla's archive nodes where we uncovered ancient Allagan records on how primals actually do the enthralling, to Matoya's relic, a dusty old place where we would conjure a mama familiar and use her to start a familiar piggy farm in the hopes of establishing our army of mini Angelos in order to scale the cure's production to the many who would need it, of course, and not for world domination. After proving its efficacy on Gabu back in Limsa, we helped Admiral Merle with some pirate mutiny, then managed to cure the Kobold Chief of Titan's grip at the navel, their addition becoming the final piece to a united alliance of Eorzea. And with that, we chilled out and took in the evening air. But trouble is never afar in the source. A soldier soon frantically informs us that large, ominous-looking structures had appeared all across Eorzea. In response, the Alliance leaders called for an emergency meeting in Alamigo, and as we arrive, we see a cloaked man flying in the skies above, alongside a huge purple-hued dragon. Out in the menagerie, we come face to face in our first meeting with Fandaniel and his trusty Lunar Bahamut. His intentions clearly stated as the destruction of our world and everything in it, including himself. Lunar Bahamut then gives us a small taste of his power, but before leaving, Fandaniel extends an invitation to the Warrior of Light to join a spectacle of sorts held by our dearest friend and enemy, he who we witnessed end himself in this very garden, Xenos Ye Galvus. The final Shadowbringers patch had us hunting for more information with regards to Lunar Bahamut, and so we went to one who knows everything you could know about Bahamut, his brood sister, Tiamat. We hacked into the Azizla mainframe whilst Alisaie kept the dragon's mighty rage at bay with Angelo, and we freed her from the Allagan shackles that bound her. The Alliance leaders then organised a two-fronted mission to investigate the towers. On one front, the unlikely duo of Arenvald and Fordola would slip behind enemy lines and inside a tower, while the second front would serve as a distraction, with the Scions and Tiamat forming an assault on Pagalthan, eventually leading us to destroy Lunar Bahamut. The ending was not so fortunate for Arenvald and Fordola though, as they awaken the tower's defense mechanism, launching the summoning of Lunar Ifrit. Arenvald leaps to Fordola's safety, his injuries resulting in a life resigned from battle. News then reaches Alfie and Alisaie that their father had come to Gridania on formal business to give a response to the Alliance leader's request for aid, but the Sharlayan Forum's decision was the one that we feared most, declining to offer any assistance in favour of remaining neutral. The twins of course abhorred this decision and made it known, pushing their father to disown them from the Leveilleur family name. Away from the French melodrama, we made our final stand in the Cartano Flats, again, as Fandaniel, the Telepheroi and the Tempered Beasts set their sights on an ethereal confluence buried deep in the ground, their true intentions still remaining a mystery. We engage in countless battles with lunar variant primals until none remain standing. Fandaniel retreats and we earn ourselves a brief moment to breathe as the glowing moon looks down upon us. Finally, back in Mordona, the Warrior of Light alone hears an ephemeral voice call out, warning that darkness signals the end drawing nearer, and the fate of the star is in your hands. And that's about where we left it off. If you're new here and you're joining me for my Endwalker journey, welcome, and don't forget to subscribe. You guys can become a channel member as well. I appreciate all the support from everybody. But yeah, without further ado, let's walk to the end and begin, I guess. Let's get into it. Here we go, boys. To the end. 2, do you have some time to talk? Of course. I would like to gather everyone in Dawn's Respite and together assess the situation in which we find ourselves. Right. The apocalypse. Oh, new music. Let's go. Let us take stock of the facts, shall we? The crisis at hand began with the sudden appearance of ominous towers in a multitude of locations throughout the world. We have since learned that said structures were brought into being by an organization known as the Telophoroi. The Telophoroi's stated purpose is to recreate the final days of eons past, an apocalyptic event that would result in the destruction of all we hold dear. Already have these towers of theirs been the cause of untold suffering. Countless innocents kidnapped and imprisoned, their faith perverted for primal summonings. That's right, we had like lunar Bahamut and stuff. The lunar stuff I still don't get. I don't know what's happening with the moon, man. And unless we find a way to deal with the corruptive aura surrounding the spires, we can't even get close enough to rescue anyone. Those shielded with the blessing of light seem able to resist being tempered, at least. But after what happened to Arnvald and Fordola, we need to be very, very careful about how we proceed. Yet while these threats close to home are of paramount concern, we mustn't lose sight of the situation in Garlemald. As you know, the Telophoroi are under the leadership of Fandaniel and one other delightful fellow, our boy, Xenos Galvis, the Crown Prince and our dear friend. To date, he's reclaimed his old body, murdered Emperor Varys, and plunged Garlemald into an even deeper pit of chaos. The capital has probably seen the worst of it. For a good while there, it saw the bloodiest fighting in the War of Succession, but that has since changed, and in troubling ways. Aye, during our reconnaissance, the air was not once rent by the barking of cannons or the cries of discord. 'Twas an eerie fog of silence which did blanket that ruined city. The inhabitants appeared to have been tempered, and with nary a word spoken did they labour to transform the palace into a soaring edifice born of nightmares. It's like a zombie land now, what the fuck? If they were indeed made thralls, it seems safe to assume that these events too were orchestrated by the Telophoroi. An army of primals is awful enough, but in light of recent developments I fear it is only the prelude to an even greater catastrophe. We need to devise a means to counter this threat, and quickly, before our allies are overwhelmed. Gwaha. I want to give them little scratchies. We will find a way in Sharlayan, I am sure of it. Master Forshino's comments regarding the final days were curious to say the least. The forum knows more than it is letting on. Sorry to interrupt. We've just received word from Mistress Kryle. She says that... This music? She says that arrangements for your visit have been finalized. Does that mean we're going on? That's where the ship's going? You're to head to Limsa Laminza and board the next ship bound for Sharlayan. Let's go! And on arrival, present yourselves as associates of the students of Baldesion, come to assist with the Order's restoration. This is very epic. The arrangements may be settled, but what of your thoughts? They must race at the prospect of returning home after so long. Oh yeah, that's their home. I'm eager to see it, of course. Of course. We should set off at once. I guess he's still a little bit pissed about his dad. Then I'll accompany you to the docks. You need at least one person there to wave and cry and wish you a safe journey. Aww. At least one person. And that person is always gonna be Tataru. She'll always have our back. No! This is planned, man. It's the Ashens. You just know it. Everyone's here, which is good because I've already paid for your passage and the fee is non-refundable. She's always concerned about money, isn't she? The ship for Sharlayan should be pulling into port soon, so please follow me and have all your luggage close at hand. Here we go. Damn, this is a banger.
They've almost finished loading our cargo. We should be ready to depart right on schedule, or so I'm told.
Excellent. 'Tis nice to have a smooth beginning to one's journey, at the very least.
Oh god, why did she have to say it? I remember the last time we got on a boat. We ended up in the middle of like an alien thing, right?
Master Louis Soir came here on a ship very much like this one. And now, years later, the street urchin he befriended that day is bound for his mentor's homeland.
A street urchin.
With his mentor's grandchildren, no less.
Aye. 'Tis upon reflection that every twist of time's river and fate's whims are brought into sharp relief. Thou hast matured much
No idea
in
what
the
that meant.
intervening years. Wert thou not caught attempting to relieve Master Louis Soir of his purse scant moments after he made landfall upon this dock?
Oh, really? Now that's a tale I'd like to hear.
Damn, Thancred has changed.
Will this be your first visit to Sharlayan, Sir Estinian? Sir Estinian?
He's still edgy, boy. Come
Are
on.
we strangers newly met? Why this stiff formality?
Sir Estinian?
I, merely meant it as a professional courtesy, since we are now colleagues in an official sense.
I'd rather you dispense with the sirs, especially in private company, or I'll be forced to respond in kind. Little Lord Alphino.
Little lord, little son.
You've made your point, Estinian. Painfully well.
These two are gonna get on great. This is gonna be a great journey. We're not leaving Tataru again, are we? Aww.
Are you alright, Tataru? You seem positively distraught.
She always gets left behind.
Distraught? Me? Don't be silly. I think it's lovely that they get to see their homeland.
Surely we can bring her along.
We're trying to thwart the schemes of an army hellbent on destroying the world. And once again, I have to stay behind and worry that this is the last time I'll get to see my friends.
Aww. Well, if we die, we die. That's what that means. I'll bring them back safe and sound, I promise. You can't leave her off, be like, well, yeah, you're kind of right.
I'll hold you to that.
Ah, good. You're still here.
Ori. And the other guy,
Ori!
Cortano?
Coultenay!
Coultenay.
What brings you all this way?
We're to assist the Maelstrom and the Kobolds with a lunar primal operation, so we thought we'd see you off before heading to the tower.
Is this the first time he's had a voice? I don't remember him talking before. Maybe he did.
Flamine and the others wish you all a safe journey, and promise that they'll look after things here until you return.
The B
We
team.
will too, of course. Aye. We, your fellow Scions of the Seventh Dawn, will do our part to ensure the end of the world won't happen on our watch.
Hell yeah, we get the B team defending the home.
We're set to sail! All aboard for Sharlayan!
Here we go, boys. I'm so excited. I love this place in the trailer. It looks so cool.
It's time.
It certainly is, Thancred.
Then we must delay no longer. We will contact you the moment we learn aught of value. Wish us luck.
I'll surely be able to come back and visit Tataru anyway, right? I'm
Have
special.
a safe journey. And please, please, be careful.
We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. The foreshadowing. Which one of us dies?
And so you venture forth unto the unknown. A fate beyond the horizon that cannot be divined. A future undefined and in flux.
Who is that voice?
In uncertain times, naught but the simplest words of wisdom will suffice.
Is that Emmett?
That which lives is destined to die. Love leads to loss.
It totally is.
Every beginning has an end.
Huh?
Treasure every moment, every step of your descent.
How isn't he dead? Okay, I'm sure it'll explain. All right, here we go.
There, in the depths where souls and stars rest, find your truth.
Where souls and stars rest. The map. That means we're going somewhere. Look at us go. Old Sharlayan. Answers?
Here.
Mama?
Feel. Think.
What's going on?
The day has barely dawned, my fellow earlier riser.
Are we all just sitting here? What the heck?
Though we're hardly alone in that. Envious of those still sleeping soundly, no doubt.
Aw, these two. So why this music?
Called out to you, you say? I've heard nothing myself. In any case, I dare say the sea air will do you good. Why not join the others on deck? Sharlayan should be coming into view at any moment.
Oh. Oh, please tell me we can go up top and watch it. This is kind of creepy. I don't know why. I feel like something's about to happen. Why am I walking so slow? An ominous. Oh. Oh. Is this the person we saw at the end of 5.5? Hello?
My voice yet reaches you. I am glad.
Wait, is that Hydaelyn?
Hear, feel, think.
Yo, what?
And thus do we meet face to face at last. My warrior of light, guided by the crystal.
The music. What the fuck? Are we meeting what? I thought Hydaelyn was a crystal. Or something. I can trust your words no longer. That's pretty true. Because of the whole Star Shard thing. Okay, I won't be too aggressive yet. I don't know what the heck's going on. Why now Hydaelyn?
After you
Get the mask?
first, I believe you have your answer. You have gained an understanding of what I truly am. What Hydaelyn has always been. A primal.
Right? Oh my god, the music.
Zodiac was created to forestall the apocalypse which threatened the ancient world. And I was brought forth to bind him.
Yeah?
Yet 7 times now, those who would orchestrate a return to that bygone era have rejoined a shard to the god I had sundered.
7 times? Have they already done 7 times? Or they've done 1 shard?
The greater his strength grows, the swifter does mine own diminish. The power to draw your mind into the rift betwixt is no longer mine to wield. Yet though it taxes me sorely, I dare not leave these words unsaid.
So she was really weak the last time we talked.
Even bereft of my guidance, you and your companions have accepted the burden of this star's troubled past. A conjunction has begun to form, an intertwining of your time and mine.
A conjunction?
Wheels shudder and turn. Conflict looms, monumental, which will decide the fate of this world and all life upon it.
She's so pretty.
When you truly understand what is at stake, and your journey has prepared you to surmount the insurmountable, then shall I honor the promise made in another time, another age.
I promise.
Cast your peepers to the fore.
No!
Sharlayans just over yonder.
Don't interrupt us, strident sealer. This is important.
I will not keep you further. Your traveler's heart must yearn to behold this unfamiliar land.
Don't go.
We shall meet again, and soon.
Damn, dude, they hit us with a fucking crazy cutscene to start it out. Hey guys, good sleep?
Oh, what a fine morning.
Yeah.
Oh, still a bit stiff though.
He knows.
Good morning to you too. Taking a look at the island already?
Then let's go. Let's go. Might still be room in the prow if we're lucky.
They're just excited to get home. They don't even notice that, like, I've seen a ghost of some sorts. Holy cow, man. Oh.
Ah, the sleepers have arisen. There she is. Good old Sharlayan.
Oh, I see it.
Show us. Show me. Ooh. The fountain.
Home. Home at last. Well, maybe not in Father's eyes, but we'll manage on our own, if we must.
You do know you're not alone in this, don't you?
Indeed. 'Tis as Sir Estinian saith.
He said not to call him that.
Forget not the comrades who boarded this ship at your side, I prithee.
How could I forget them? What?
Thank you, my friends. We are ever grateful for your steadfast support.
Upon arrival, we will be disembarking into the heart of Sharlayan proper. There is no greater concentration of wisdom in all the world. I am confident that somewhere within that center of knowledge and learning, we will find the answers we seek.
Okay. The way the trailer made it seem was like that despite all the wisdom concentrated there, there's also gonna be a lot of stupidity. Or cowardice, maybe. Or ignorance. Oh, the moon, not the moon. Why you gotta do the whole moon thing on me? All right, there it is. We still have no answers to what the hell the moon's doing.
Sharlayan, the solitary island nation of the northern seas.
Ooh.
Where under the watchful gaze of Thaliak, patron deity of scholars,
Thaliak.
academics hoard all manner of knowledge and secrets. Once, they deigned to accept foreign students into a distant colony maintained in the Dravanian hinterlands.
Yeah.
How swiftly they abandoned it once the first Garlean boot set hostile foot on Alamegan soil.
Yeah, because it fell to ruin. This place looks a lot better.
Averse to the prosecution of war, these men of wisdom, your would-be allies.
Damn, I can't imagine what it would have been like seeing this. I mean, it would have just been like I'm seeing it now, but God, it looks amazing.
I thought they'd never let us off the ship. What's next then? Entry applications?
Hopefully they find no cause to deny us.
Hasn't Sharlayan all but severed relations with foreign powers? Those of us without direct ties, myself included, may be refused outright.
Oh yeah.
'Tis true that, as a nation, Sharlayan only forms
But he's a
trade
Scion.
agreements with a select few neutral countries.
He's one of us.
But from a practical standpoint, an island cannot afford to be overly strict with its borders. Especially not if that island's people are wholly devoted to the accumulation of knowledge.
Yeah, surely they'll want to know about the Azure Dragoon, right?
If one submits the proper paperwork, with satisfactory evidence of identity and intent, then foreigners may be granted entry.
He's gonna get refused and he's gonna be stuck doing paperwork. Oh no. Per Estinian.
Quite. So let us be absolutely clear on these points before we proceed.
Oh, the music.
The immigration officer will ask for your affiliation and your purpose of visit. Considering Sharlayan's views on intervention, I strongly suggest we avoid any mention of the Scions.
Okay.
Crown
Noted.
has laid the groundwork
Noted.
for us to act as associates of the students of Baldesion, and our ostensible reason for being here is to aid in their order's restoration.
I mean, that makes sense because their father probably went back and were like, fuck the Scions, right?
Grahatir, it might expedite our progress should an actual student be seen at the head of our little group. Would you mind leading the way?
Aw.
Of course. The immigration offices were this way, as I recall. Shall we?
He just wants to get to the library. The music's so pretty as well.
Greetings. We've just arrived and are eager to make our way into the city. Would you be so kind as to process our entry applications?
Oh no.
Certainly.
Oh, that's a good mark.
Mark, you are an Archon.
That's good. Yeah.
I am. Grahatir of the Students of Baldesion at your service. I was assigned to an Eorzean survey team, but have returned to assist with the reformation of my order. My associates here will provide additional support.
Very good. I have paperwork detailing your group and its scheduled arrival for today.
It's the song from the trailer.
And it seems some few of your companions are also Archons. If you'll step forward, we can process those applications first.
Ishtola rule.
Her blue nails.
See how it glows? That list is etherically linked with a citizen registry kept in the main repository.
I've confirmed your status as Archons and amended your travel records accordingly. Welcome home.
How's her hair doing that?
Now, Who do we have here?
More Sharlayan magic. Uh-oh.
Alphino Leveilleur.
She knows the level yours.
And Alisaie Leveilleur.
Your applications have also been approved. Having said that,
Oh no.
the streets are abuzz with talk of how House Leveilleur's lord disowned his young progeny.
Saj. That's a feels bad, man.
And while such personal circumstances constitute no reason to deny you entry, I urge you to avoid exacerbating your present situation. Times are quite troubled enough already.
So the word is going. Oh god, the rumor mill. Per Alfie, per
We shall
Alisaie.
keep that in mind.
He's gonna do something
These
silly,
last two
isn't
are
he?
not Sharlayan natives, but you will find their credentials are in order. An application was made in advance.
I saved the world multiple times. You're welcome.
Name and occupation?
The Warrior of Light and Darkness. Adventurer by trade, champion. Where is it? What should I do? Artisan? They'd like that, right? Artisan. It seems like something they'd like.
Indeed. Your profile describes you as an adventurer,
Ah, shit!
but one also trained in the rather more constructive pursuits of procurement and production. You may enter.
Somehow that worked.
And you, sir?
The
Justinian Varlino. Formerly
Varlin.
of the Order of the Knights Dragoon in Ishgard.
Oh, we got a surname.
Formally, at least. And what, pray tell, is your profession now?
This is awkward. Oh, Growl.
If you'll allow me.
Is she gonna save the day?
My associate is a mercenary, hired for his strength at arms. Surely you are aware of the dangers we often face on our forays into the wilderness.
She's got his back.
Mistress Baldesion, if you insist on sponsoring his entry, then so be it. But while I appreciate that desperate times call for desperate measures, I find your choice of company concerning. Be advised that even a single misstep may have severe repercussions for your organization.
Okay, lady secretary, okay.
I have every confidence in my chosen company, dear and trusted comrades that they are. But I thank you for your concern.
A little bit of passive aggressiveness there. Thanks for the lecture. We're all in, boys.
Croyle, it is good to see you.
Likewise. Long voyage notwithstanding, you all seem none the worse for wear. There is much to discuss, but this is hardly the place. Let's be on our way, shall we?
All right, we're all in.
Welcome, friends, to Sharlayan.
Woo, yippee!
As your mercenary, I should hope my welcome includes a generous salary.
Well, I had to say something, Sir Taciturn.
Yo! Holy shit! I knew you guys were gonna do something, but I didn't expect it to be right away. Look at you guys. God damn, the wings. Thank you guys, thank you guys. I always love your welcomes. Dude, that's so awesome. I got a Peloton. An RP walk. Dang. I bet this other person's like, wait, what the heck's going on? They're like, ah, This is for me. But yeah, wow, look at this place. It's so like bright and warm and clean. Oh god, we've got many Pokeballs. Oh my god. Honestly, this is kind of a capturable moment, I think. This is like a memory. Remember when I got to Endwalker and everybody DC'd, the servers were getting DDoSed? I was like, we're all dying, that's consistent with MSQ, I guess. Thank you guys. Okay, we gotta talk to Kryl. I'm glad I spotted your ship coming into port. The officers are born bureaucrats and sticklers for detail. In any case, you may relax and take a moment to get your land legs back. Ooh, the new quest complete. Ooh. I had thought to launch directly into an explanation of what I've learned and how we might proceed. But this is Tu and Estinian's first time in Sharlayan, and for the rest of you, a homecoming that was long overdue. You must have places you wish to visit and people you're dying to see. Therefore, I propose we postpone our agenda so that you all may have sufficient time to recover from your journey and get your bearings in the city. Once you've settled in, we can reconvene at the Baldesion Annex. How does that sound? It is a fine suggestion. We may not be welcome at the level your estate as such, but I should like to nose around the neighborhood all the same. Damn, the music is like so chill as well. I'm equally untethered, as it were. There is no particular place that my kin call home. Still, I would not pass up the opportunity to reacquaint myself with the city. Likewise, a quick tour of our old haunts might even yield some useful gossip. Maybe some old girlfriends. The annex was west of the Aetheryte Plaza, wasn't it? I shall join you there anon. Yes, well, see you there. I too have places I would be remiss in not visiting forthwith by thy leave. Where is Uri gonna be? That was awfully mysterious. What of you, Estinian? My services as a guide are yours for the asking. That won't be necessary. Until we reconvene, I prefer to wander as the wind takes me. Classic. Alright, see you in like a number of quests. But I could... Oh. Well, Raha, would you like to join us then? You've been gone for quite a while, and this would be the perfect way to refresh those dusty old memories of yours. Oh, of course, if you will have me. Come to, Sharlayan awaits. Let's go. Oh dear, his enthusiasm is infectious, isn't it? After you, my friend, I am more than content to follow your lead. Grahati is now accompanying you. Oh, keep him at your side in order to proceed with the quest objectives. Come on, Graha. Yay. All set, then let us be on our way. Our first stop, amusingly enough, will be in the Last Stand. It's a cafe on the west side of the harbor. Whee! Look at this. This is always so awesome. Yay. Look at Kryl as well. Aw. With all the unusual wares coming and going at all hours, I expect the assistance of an intrepid adventurer would be highly appreciated. I see no reason why you couldn't undertake any tasks which pique your interest. You have been cleared by the immigration officials, after all. I look forward to the day your name is celebrated in Sharlayan, the same way it is in Eorzea. This place is called the Peristyle. It is the first stop for cargo unloaded at the docks. You'll find the usual necessities for daily living and other imports vital to running an island nation. But it also supplies that further Sharlayan's pursuit of knowledge, namely large quantities of books, specimens, and samples. Sorting these stacks certainly seems to keep the attendants busy. Okay. Now that is a sight one could hardly forget, the great statue of Thaliak. As a student of Baldesion, I was usually quartered on the Isle of Val, but I would gaze upon the scholar's wise features every time I returned by ship to the city. This path leading out towards the sea is known as the Thaliak Stoa, so named for the statue of the scholar which stands at its end. As you know, the Sharlayan people prize the accumulation of wisdom above all else. Thus, when Thaliak was chosen as our patron deity, it was more a matter of pragmatism than belief, an alignment of principles, as it were. We may have honoured him with a rather impressive sculpture, yes, but our faith is not so restrictive as that of, say, the Ashgardians. Individual Sharlayans can, and do, worship the divinities of their choosing. And here we are, the last stand. I may have mentioned this before, but although our research into nutrition and food preparation is quite extensive, the average Sharlayan tends to regard seasoning and flavour with a certain indifference, right? The bread, right? I remember that. How can I put this? The food is, it's bland, as encapsulated by our infamous Archon loaf. The prevailing sentiment towards cuisine is dietary value first and taste a distant second. There was one pupil at the studium, however, who could stomach the school's insipid meals no longer, so he quit his lessons and poured all his savings into building a proper eatery. And so the last stand came to be. It is, as the name implies, the sole dedicated outpost of fine dining in Sharlayan, the one and only bastion of the culinary arts in an isle of otherwise mediocre fare. I seem to recall their burger being hailed as one of the more impressive items on the menu. Not that I ever had the pleasure of eating one myself. You can eat one now. What do you mean? Because you were a typical Sharlayan when it came to cheap and convenient, Raha. But surely Tataru has since taught you how to appreciate a well-prepared dish. We should all stop in when time permits and sample the cafe's delights. Shall we press on? The stairs to the side of the cafe there will take us up to the Aetheryte Plaza. An unusual shape, isn't it? Oh, the thing? Yeah. I assure you, however, that it's a perfectly functioning Aetheryte. Remember to attune yourself before you're already done. Now, being the diligent tour guide that I am, I should make mention of the Confluence, a research facility located on this very plaza. Its much vaunted discoveries are the reason Sharlayan stands at the forefront of teleportation technology. In deciphering the underlying principles of Allagan Aetherites, it allowed us to understand and reconstruct what was essentially a lost art. And off we go to our next destination. Our path leads northeast to the Agora, Sharlayan's largest marketplace. Let's go. Speaking of Aetherites, those teleportation fees do add up after a while, which is why I tended to rely on the far cheaper ferry services. I was pleasantly surprised when Mistress Tataru informed me that the Scions are reimbursed for transportation costs as a part of our duties. I never was. What? What is a scam? But I find old habits hard to break. That, and I'd rather not be bothered filling out the necessary paperwork. That's the entrance to the Confluence. I have no doubt their expertise will prove useful at some point, so I suggest you remember the way here. Yeah, I already love it here, man. Dialogue is going to be a reference to the devs raising the Oh, I see. They always do stuff like that. Do you mind if I browse the shelves for a moment? There might be some hidden gems I've yet to read. Only a moment? How optimistic. Feel free to browse all you like, but we won't wait around for you. Perhaps I'll return here later then. These little open-air bookstalls are so uniquely Sharlayan. I'd always thought them a common sight until I visited other nations. So this is the market? Welcome to the Agora, where you can find wares made in Sharlayan, as well as a wide selection of imported goods. They also used to sell questionable prototypes from the various research institutes, but I think that practice has thankfully died out, for the most part. Prototypes, interesting. Otherwise, I can think of no better place to stock up for your next big adventure. Am I overselling it? On a more serious note, the next stop on our tour is one which has particular relevance to our ultimate purpose here. We must head back to the Aetheryte Plaza, follow the path north, then climb the stairs up to that imposing building at the very top. This imposing building, so this is the Forum, huh? These little decorative features are typical of Sharlayan architecture. Aside from the research wing, our headquarters on the Isle of Val were rather simple and rustic by comparison. This is the Nymphaeum, an area dedicated to the blessings of water. For Sharlayans, water represents more than a life-sustaining liquid. It is a reminder of the great flood which precipitated the birth of our nation, as well as a symbol of the knowledge which flows from Thaliak's divine ewer. This is the reason you see an abundance of fountains throughout the city, a propensity for utilizing water as a decorative feature in our architecture. Okay, that's a pretty cool little tidbit of knowledge. This feels like a holiday, like a vacation destination. It feels like Santorini. I get those vibes with this sunset and everything. It feels like nice and warm and very summery. But I could also see how it could be really nice in winter as well. This grand structure before you is the rostra. The name refers to the original public platform erected here, upon which a forum of elected representatives would deliver orations and debate policy. Although the stage has since evolved into council chambers, the nature of the forum and the duties of its members remain largely unchanged. Am I boring you, Raha? You seem awfully distracted. My apologies. From here one can see the entire city spread out below. The vista put me in mind of my arrival in the first. Those who had gathered at the Crystal Tower asked me how they might go about building a new home. Naturally, my answers were all inspired by my knowledge of the finest settlement I could think of, the great city of Sharlayan. And bit by bit those few buildings grew into a town, a community, the Crystarium. I can almost see its echo. I see. Feel free to come up here whenever you wish. I don't think the councillors would object to simply enjoying the view. Such memories should be treasured. For now, however, the tour must go on. Our spectacle of sightseeing concludes with the fittingly named Journey's End. Walk down the stairs to the east and continue straight ahead. We've arrived at Journey's End. History tells us that this was where those who put ashore with Archon Nunkrep built their first homes. In the present day, it serves as the residential district for the most important officials and the oldest Sharlayan families. I see where we're going with this. You'll see that one mansion is clearly larger than its neighbours. That estate belongs to our friends from House Levelier. All things considered, we should probably keep our distance for the time being. And with that, we bring our little Sharlayan tour to a close. I hope it has proven to be an entertaining and enlightening experience. It was, Kryle. Now, shall we head directly to the Baldesion Annex? You remember the way, don't you, Raha? Let me think. We head down towards the harbour, cross the bridge to our right, then follow the path below the Aetheryte Plaza? Correct. After you two. I could give up my Warrior of Light duties and retire. Just chill in this little park by the fountain. Be nice. I just want to sit here, man. Like, listen to this music. Ah. It's so nice. Okay, I'm sorry. The work never ceaseth. Right, we cross this bridge here as I recall. Stick to the path and be careful not to end up back in the Aetheryte Plaza. Sharlayan is full of educational and research institutions, but there are still professors who prefer to establish their own private practices. Not that I ever attended the exclusive schools they run in these residencies. Perhaps the twins could tell you more about them. As the joyous look on Raha's face has undoubtedly informed you, this is the Baldesion Annex. If you continue up the hill, you'll arrive on the doorstep of Phenomenon, but I think we've explored enough for one day. We can take you there another time. Inside with you then. Is this the library? Oh no, not another secretary. Not another Karen! I'm back, and I brought Tu and Raha with me. Ah, you were right about the ship then. Hello, Graha. It's nice to see you again. And it's a pleasure to finally meet you, too. I've heard many a tale of your exploits. Ojika Sunjika. It has been an age. That's a cool name. Allow me to introduce Ojika Sunjika, Administration Officer for the students of Baldesion. He oversees the day-to-day business of the Annex. The Champion of Eorzea has featured prominently in Kryle and Graha's reports, so for me this is akin to seeing a fabled hero come to life. It is an honor to make your acquaintance. This place is like a second home for the students. The Isle of Val served as our main headquarters, of course, but we often had occasion to visit Sharlayan, whether to make use of the city's research facilities, attend conferences, or procure supplies from distant shores. And the annex here was built to provide lodgings for our members while we engaged in such activities. Ever since our former headquarters, along with the Isle itself, vanished, the annex has served as our base of operations. And yet it feels so empty, with so many lost to us. Our organization is a shell of its former self. The day will come when we will see the students rise again. But first, we must ensure that the Telepheroi fall. That's more important right now, I think, yeah. Through that door on the left there is the main hall, where we can discuss our options moving forward. Oh, is this the new Rising Stones? Ooh, okay. Once everyone arrives, that is. You probably have time to rest before our discussions begin in earnest. What's the door on the right? I've had private quarters prepared for you in the Andron, so please feel free to make yourself at home. Cryle. Ah, the nap rooms, perfect for an afternoon doze. Oh, I didn't mean to give you the wrong impression. The chambers are quite well appointed, far more so than some cheap roadside inn, you may be assured. 'Twas simply that we were often so busy with research or exhausted from journeys abroad that we would slip into the Andron just to steal a few winks. And thus they became known amongst the students as nap rooms, even if many such naps might last well into the following morning. He's an oversleeper. Say the word and I'll be happy to show you to your chamber. Hopefully the others won't be too long in coming. I'll wait for you all in the main hall. He didn't go into the nap room. Interesting decision. Feeling refreshed and alert, our colleagues should be wandering in soon, so I suggest we stay here and wait for them to join us. Lots of new music, I love it.
Pray forgive me. I was delayed.
And lots of voiceovers, I also love it.
It's fine, Urianger. We're all here now.
Let's get down to business then, shall we?
Saving the world, yes.
Come what may, we must prevent the Telophoroi's plans from coming to fruition. At present, I see two paths for gathering the information which may aid us in achieving that goal. The first involves an investigation into the change which has come over Sharlayan, not to mention the recent inscrutable behavior of the Forum.
The change which has come over Sharlayan?
As most of you know, the 99 members of the Forum are elected from the general populace. This alone guarantees a plethora of opinion with regards to foreign policy. The bibliotheques, for example, are a group of conservatives which would have Sharlayan focus on recording history, while remaining entirely uninvolved in the making of it.
So that's Dad, maybe?
And at the other extreme, we have advocates for proactive diplomacy and direct intervention. My grandfather Galef was one such member, as was Archon Louisois. Yet despite our diverse factions and philosophies, the recent vote to deny Eorzea's request for assistance was unanimous. Even more concerning was the fact that many cited other, more pressing duties as justification for their recalcitrance.
Wow, that's a word, huh? Holy crap, recalcitrance. But yeah, that's weird.
Fortuno's refusal in Gridania had those same undertones. 'Twas as if, having stared unblinking into the face of impending doom, he had simply turned away to pursue something more important. But what could that possibly be?
A mystery indeed, and one which I ask for your help to solve. Our future may depend on it. As for our second potential path, it concerns a request made directly to the students of Baldesion.
How many are
Our
left?
organization was founded primarily to study strange and unexplained phenomena the world over. Mysterious relics and ruins, arcane disturbances, and so forth. Compared to our more isolationist Sharlayan colleagues, we have strong connections overseas, namely with scholars and academics who share our passion for the unknown. The request in question comes from one such acquaintance, Nadana, an alchemist residing in distant Thavnair. Her missive describes the sudden appearance of a tower, and the subsequent summoning of what I can only assume is a lunar primal.
Oh no. I wonder which one. Is it gonna be a new one? That'd be cool.
In response to this threat, the satrap of Radzat Han, the individual who governs the city-state, has instructed the alchemists to find a means to deal with the spire.
The artisans of that land are heirs to an ancient tradition, one rather unlike that of their Uldan counterparts. It is possible, nay, probable, that they have gleaned truths unattainable by Eorzea or her Far Eastern allies.
Probable?
They do, in fact, appear to have a strategy in mind, though it will require further research. To that end, they have requested an introduction to a capable warrior shielded by the blessing of light.
Anybody know one
Assuming
around?
we divide our forces to pursue both of Kral's lines of inquiry, and having you join the group heading to Thavnair would seem the obvious choice.
But I don't want to leave here.
But the investigation in Sharlayan is of vital importance as well. Equal, I think, to the Thavnarian one, given that the fate of the world may hinge on the results of both.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to do both. I see what we're doing. We're doing the Alisaie Alfie split quest again.
Yes, it is quite the quandary. Though it is a great imposition and an altogether too common one, our efforts would be more likely to succeed were you to lead the charge on both fronts.
Yay! We're going on a little world tour.
You are indeed our champion. As to which task to tackle first, we will defer to your decision. Let us next decide how everyone else might best be assigned. As for myself, I shall continue what I've begun in Sharlayan. I should also like to steal the services of an Archon or two.
And thereby gain access to a greater range of reading material. I will help with that.
Of course. She just wants to sip some tea and read some books.
Allow me to offer my assistance. I have some small amount of experience in the field of research.
Him too. What are these two gonna do?
Alisaie and I would also like to help, if you would have us.
Oh, they want to stay?
Anything to understand even a fraction of what our father and the Forum might be thinking.
They want to get back at
course,
Dad.
The more the merrier.
Right. The rest of us will make the journey to Thavnair.
Look at him. Look at him just sitting back there.
Thoughts? Objections?
None.
I passed through Thavnair on my way to infiltrate the Empire, and though I'm not qualified to give a guided tour, I did gain a sense of where things lie.
Yes. He's coming with
I'll
us,
be happy to have
boys.
you along then. So for this group, it will be you, me, and Urianger.
The boys' day
Give
out.
me a moment afterwards, and I'll supply you with all the details of Nadana's request. Consider this hall our rendezvous point once our respective tasks are complete. May our investigations prove fruitful.
All right. Road trip or library? The boys' road trip. As fun as that sounds, we are in Sharlayan. An unsettling change has come over Sharlayan, but together we will divine the underlying cause for the Forum's callousness. As mentioned before, however, questioning the councillors directly is a fruitless endeavour. They seem to have already come to a consensus as to what and how little they're willing to divulge. Which is why I began scouring Sharlayan's archive of historical records for any hint of connection to the final days. Suffice it to say that progress has been slow. There are only so many dusty pages one can skim in a day. But now that I have this band of willing reinforcements, the search should proceed all the swifter. Let us reconvene outside Numenor, shall we? Exit the annex to the right and you'll find the archives on the western edge of the woods. Okay. Alright boys, let's go. We got them out of the way, let's go. My directions were easy enough to follow, I hope. In any case, you stand now before the doors of Numenor, Sharlayan's grandest collection of books and tomes. This building is actually only an entrance, and one of many at that, for the archives of Numenor extend deep beneath the surface like the roots of a tree. The vast halls of the Great Gooble Library pale in comparison to Numenor's endless maze of subterranean chambers. Any citizen of Sharlayan is free to enter and peruse its shelves. Well, most of its shelves. Only Archons are afforded access to certain restricted vaults, Graha. I've dispatched Y'shtola and Graha to investigate those. Meanwhile, Alisaie and Alphinaud will help me continue my search through the stacks open to the general public. Your status represents more of a problem. As a non-citizen, you are only permitted to browse the first floor here at the entrance. Even so, there should be a number of books which touch upon Sharlayan history or foreign policy. Your task will be to find and study the relevant publications. God, why did we choose this quest line? I promise you, a working knowledge of those subjects will make it far easier to spot the sort of clues you're looking for. Let us be about it, shall we? I've told the others to meet us at the stone benches over there once they find some promising tomes. Happy reading! Ooh. What is this thing? Hey, little guy. He's got my hair! Oh, look at that. Okay, maybe I should have changed her. Oh my god. Yo, this place is vast. The title in the spine reads the story of Sharlayan. Read the book. Okay, yeah. Long, long ago on an island in the northern sea, there lived a Rogadan man by the name of Nunkrep. Nunkrep was a student of astrology, and he divined that a flood of terrifying proportions would soon sweep over the lands of Eorzea. So it was that he built a gigantic ship, assembled a crew, and set sail for that imperiled realm. The flood arrived as foretold, and to their horror, the strangely churning waters drove the people towards the ocean. It was there, however, that Nunkrep's crew hauled them aboard his ark, but the danger had not passed. A towering wave approached, threatening to smash the vessel to pieces. With only moments to spare, Nunkrep wove a mighty spell of teleportation and shifted the entire ship to safety atop Abelathia's spine. Refugees from the surrounding regions huddled there alongside them, but it was not long before disputes over the dwindling supply of food led to violence and bloodshed. Saddened by the sight, Nunkrep gathered to him his crew and his grateful passengers and abandoned the ark to those reddened peaks. They journeyed to the coast where they built a new ship, intent upon returning to the northern seas. They landed on the beach of an island and settled upon that very spot. That settlement proposed and grew, and in time it became the city of Sharlayan we live in to this day. Wow. So he did the teleportation thing that Y'shtola did a couple times, right? The faded title on the spine reads Stewards of Wisdom. During the chaos of the 6th Umbral Calamity, Archon Nunkrep, founder of Sharlayan, bore witness to the madness and savagery of men brought to the brink of despair. Upon raising a settlement on an island in the Northern Empty, he instructed his people thus: renounce the ways of war, and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason. The Sharlayans took to heart the words of their savior, and thenceforth served as stewards of wisdom. Upon a foundation of accumulated learning, they built a homeland unlike any other, a nation born from strength of minds rather than strength of arms. With knowledge of economics came shrewd trading. With knowledge of agriculture came bountiful crops. Engineering brought wells and sewers, ending squabbles over water. Wealth of expertise could be bartered with for wealth in coin, and the more their wisdom spread throughout the world, the more mankind as a whole would thrive. And so it was that no matter the trials and tribulations of the age, the citizens of Sharlayan would live by their founder's teachings. For the sake of a better tomorrow, for the sake of a brighter star, they would eschew the tools of war and with knowledge deliver the world. The voice of a growing city. This has got to be it. In the years which followed the founding of Sharlayan, civic policy and other matters of import were decided at the Ecclesia, a public forum which every citizen was eligible to speak. As the city's population grew, however, this format became increasingly impractical. The larger number of participants gave rise to ever longer debates, resulting in significant delays of vital resolutions. Various measures were introduced in an attempt to curtail protracted discussions, but in the year 201 of the 6th Astral Era, it was ultimately decreed that Sharlayan would transition to a new form of governance. The nation would now be led by a body of 99 members, citizens chosen from amongst their peers by a means of nationwide vote. Thus was the Forum as we know it today conceived and created. You've gained a fundamental understanding of Sharlayan history and the foundation of the Forum. Okay, cool. Okay, what secrets did they get? Sorry, were you waiting long? I wanted to make sure I'd borrowed at least a few promising volumes. Alphino and Kryl should also be along shortly. I was delayed in similar fashion. As far as I could see, no titles in the Archon stacks mentioned the final day specifically, so we have no choice but to start with the tangentially relevant tomes, if they even are that. At present, the plan is to skim through as quickly as we dare and share our discoveries as we make them. It would have been nice to invite everyone to the estate. Plenty of comfortable places to read and a ready supply of hot tea. Oh, I was always quite fond of reading outside. But it's not about the little pleasures, is it? You miss your home. It's been difficult. After our arrival, we managed to speak with one of the family servants and ask how things were. It seems our dear father has instructed the staff that even if Alphinaud and I were to return to Sharlayan, we were not to be allowed across the threshold. A harsh measure indeed. I hope that our efforts to understand his position, and that of the Forum, will perhaps lead to reconciliation. We'll mend this rift one day. I'm certain of it. And what of you, G'raha? Have you been to visit your family, or do they not live here in the city? Ah, well, my situation is also somewhat complicated. I was raised in Sharlayan, yes, but I was born rather further away. The dog! In the southern reaches of Ilsabard, in fact. For generations, my people have dwelt in Corvos, the coastal region opposite the island of Thavner. The Allagans founded a city in that fertile land, and by ship brought in the subjugated tribes of the Mikote to serve as labourers. Not the cat-girl slaves. Oh my god. Of course, the massive earthquakes of the fourth Umbral Calamity brought an end to the Empire's reign, and when the fifth Calamity froze the seas solid, many of the tribes still living in Corvos braved the journey back to Eorzea. My ancestors, however, chose to remain, that they might prevent the remnants of Allagan technology from being misused. Isn't Corvos under Garlean rule? For the past 50 years, yes, some semblance of local culture remains, as is the case for most imperial provinces, but Garlemald renamed the region Locus Amonis. When I was a boy, a nearby town came under the jurisdiction of an illustrious imperial family, the nobles of House Darnus. Oh, the face, I know, right? House Darnus demonstrated a singular interest in Allagan civilization, and so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time already, voices had been raised in favour of abandoning our ancient customs. After all, the Allagan eye no longer passed to our eldest children as reliably as it once had. Fear of discovery eventually tipped the scales, and the decision was made to bury our ties to the knowledge and traditions of Allag. As the last child born with an Allagan eye, I was given over to the custody of friends and the students of Baldesion, who had me registered as a Sharlayan citizen. I never even considered. Forgive me, it was an unkind question. Aww, even Thancred was taken in by Archon Louis Sois, was he not? Stories of adopted waifs and rescued orphans are more common among Sharlayans than you might think. Yet regardless of our origins, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn, and with sufficient perspicacity, we outsiders can even earn the vaunted title of Archon. It is exactly why I have such love for this country, and why I wish it to remain a nation of which its citizens can be proud. Hear, hear. Another good reason to get to the bottom of the Forum's stubbornness, aside from the trifling matter of our impending doom. Excuse us while we try to make some headway into these books too. More companies should be arriving any moment now. We've returned with our selections. Although I must say, the pickings were quite slim indeed. Mistress Kryl has already flicked through every history book devoted to disasters, and more than a few which barely made mention of them. As such, we will be looking into research papers on the Umbral Calamities, as well as articles written by prominent Forum members. Perhaps their knowledge of the final days comes from an unexpected source. Speaking of which, might I ask you a few questions related to the final days? I'm the only one here who didn't witness the events of Amarot firsthand, and I fear I may be overlooking critical details. Okay, we're just reliving this again, alright. My thanks. Now, where to begin? First things first. What kind of phenomena did the ancients encounter as the final days grew nigh? A complete destabilization of creation magics. Primals of unrivaled power were summoned from the ether, the worst kind of phenomena you can imagine. I kind of want to say it. Though I do remember, like, all of the crazy things, so I'll say that. Primals of unrivaled power. I believe Hydaelyn and Zodiark were summoned after the final days had arrived, quite deliberately in fact. If we are speaking of phenomena caused by the final days, The chaos of creation magics run rampant is what first come. Okay, Alfie. I guess you remember it. Why don't we just ask you then? Fear and despair manifested in a terrible, tangible fashion. Meteors raining from the sky, fire erupting from the ground, indescribable abominations prowling the streets. That more or less aligns with my understanding. If only the arts of creation had survived until the present day, we might have had something substantial to analyze. To the best of our knowledge, however, these techniques were not preserved or passed on. Y'shtola surmises that the closest known magic is that of the summoning rituals promulgated by the Asherans. Was there aught else of note which heralded the approach of the final days? I'm gonna get... Alfie, you can answer this one. Yeah. Go ahead, Alfie. Me? Well, as you wish. Yeah, you got all the answers, bro, huh? The Amoritines were debating the cause of an anomaly which had been observed in the lands across the sea. By this fact alone, we can deduce that the final days occurred not at all at once the world over, but rather had a point of origin from which it began to spread. Others also spoke of a keening sound rising from the land itself, just before a region was visited by a catastrophe. We never did hear the sound ourselves, of course, thrust as we were into the midst of the madness. A keening sound? So the ground was crying out, you say? To be considered the harbinger of doom, it must have been quite distinctive, and probably quite loud. I'll have to speak with one of Numenon's mammoths and ask after any books which make mention of such a sound. Last but not least, would you describe how the ancients sought to quell this unprecedented calamity? What definitive action did they take? They first summoned Zodiark, right? They wanted to give it a will of its own, and then some people said nay and summoned Hydaelyn. Thanks, Alfie. I got it right. Yes, with Elidibus serving as his heart, so many gave themselves in sacrifice to bring him into being. We do not know exactly how Zodiark brought salvation to the star, only that his godlike will were the laws of nature set aright. Then, once the balance was redressed, the ancients offered up a further sacrifice to heal the ravages of the final days. Lives sprouted anew, and it was these fledgling souls they intended to render unto Zodiark. A trade that would have allowed them to resurrect the shades of loved ones absorbed by the primal. Or might have had Vina and her fellows not manifested their opposition in the form of Hydaelyn. Thank you, both of you, for the detailed review. I feel much more confident now in my understanding of events. With all that freshly in mind, it does make me wonder what the Telophoroi truly mean when they speak of bringing back the final days. We've seen what they're doing with those towers of theirs. Is forcing people to summon primals a kind of catalyst? Are they attempting to mirror the conditions caused by unstable creation magics? Or are they simply using the final days as a figure of speech? A convenient metaphor for the scale of destruction they plan to unleash? But all this is just pointless conjecture at this stage. Let us return our attention to the forum, shall we? We should keep an eye out for Y'shtola, but 'tis time we began studying these research papers. Well, good luck with that, guys. Hey, throne.com/2caves. I'm the last, am I? Well, my extended research of the Archon stacks produced one or two possibly useful books, but I wouldn't get your hopes up. If you recall, Urianger learned of the source's reflections from the Geron oracles. Heaven's word, wow, okay. For its potential to cause panic and confusion, that tome was deemed apocrypha and sealed away in the Great Gubal Library. It is even less likely that knowledge of the unsundered world, not to mention the horrors of the final days, would be left sitting on a shelf for any curious scholar to find. It stands to reason then that my colleagues, be they Archons or Councillors, should perforce be largely ignorant of the subject. Yet when you confronted Master Fortuno with knowledge of the Telophoroi and their machinations, he scoffed at the suggestion that they posed a threat. He seemed adamant that the Forum would know if the final days were truly upon us. Which only supports the conclusion that whatever privileged wisdom is guiding the Forum's behaviour is being kept secret from the rest of the nation. Why? Not that I mean to excuse myself from reading, Judy. Whether they contain mention of the final days or no, these books could yet hold something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work for everyone. You're gonna put me to work. I kind of like it. Kind of like being bossed around by Hydaelyn. I'm not gonna lie. I can't be the only one either. Do you know what I was just thinking there? I was waiting for Emmett Selk to be sitting up by the thing. It's just instinct at this point. You labor for what feels like an age as you stole his research assistant. Gladly, my queen. Thank you for your help, but I think I can manage the rest without your assistance. If I were you, I'd steal a few quiet moments for myself. Oh dear, you look exhausted. But what about your studies? Were you able to find any books on the subjects I mentioned? Then the day was well spent. Should you wish to read them again, a mammoth at the reference desk will point you in the right direction. For the moment though, I suggest you take a well-deserved rest. We might be occupied with our research for quite some time. Okay. Ready for a tea break too? I know I am. We could go down by the harbour. Let's go down, Alisaie. Honestly, my neck and shoulders are going to calcify if I don't stretch my legs and walk around for a bit. You know the last stand down... Oh, we are going! Yes! You know the last stand down in the harbour, don't you? Come and meet me near the outside tables and I'll treat you to their coffee. It's quite good. Damn. Alright. Let's go! Moon. As busy as ever, I see. How very Sharlayan that no other gourmet cafe has sprung up to compete for customers. Actually, this crowd gives me an idea. Before we place an order, why don't we ask a few questions and gauge the mood of the city? I'm interested to hear what the average citizen has to say about the Telophoroi. We might even learn something new. Worth a try, don't you think? Nah, they did not do my man like this. No. What's up, Dickon? That's unfair. I'm sorry for your loss, man. Oh my god, look at those, chat. Oh my god, does that not just turn you on? Oh my god. Hildois. Dang, Hildois, hey. Yes, I don't believe I've had the pleasure. Me neither. Pray excuse the interruption. But we were hoping you might share your thoughts on the Telophoroi and their unconscionable plans. My goodness, if it isn't the young Miss Leveilleur. My apologies, but I work in the offices of the Forum. And if word reached Master Fortuneau that I was helping you... I see. We're sorry to have bothered you. Maybe it's not the best idea to have Alisaie wander around with us. Maybe I do it all so they don't know who I am, right? You just caused me to lose another one, man. Like, I had a shot there. I really felt it. What? What is it? Can a man not enjoy a moment of private respite? If you're looking to share a table, then I respectfully request that you look elsewhere. You misunderstand, sir. We were simply wondering if you knew of the Telophoroi. These enemies of peace have promised an end to all we hold dear and... Wait, you're that house... I told you, man, we shouldn't have Alisaie with us. I'm sorry, Alisaie. You're that House Leveilleur girl, aren't you? And this man with you is obviously a foreigner. I'd heard you were disowned for helping outsiders indulge their barbaric whims. And here you are, giving the truth to rumour. I'll thank you to leave me be. I've naught to say to the likes of you. Well, I must apologise. 'Twas foolish of me to expect an ounce of civility from one so enlightened. Come to. Tell him. You're always a bit of a dick. Just tell him you're their dad. Dude, I could sneak in. That's the play. I can go undercover. Oh my god, we figured it out. Oh god, they even get the little apron as well. Welcome, sir. What can I offer you today? Oh, he knows. Wait, is that Mistress Alisaie I see there? My word, how long has it been? Far too long. Meet? I can't, man. Why did they do this? Meet Dickon, the owner of the Last Stand. I used to frequent his cafe on occasion, in between lessons at the studium. I bet this guy's had it bad for so many goddamn years. That seems like an age ago now. I remember hearing that you and Master Alphino had set sail for Eorzea, but then you never came back. Lately, there's been gossip about your father disowning the pair of you. Everything all right at home? It's complicated, and I hadn't quite expected complete strangers to be so familiar with our situation quite so quickly. Everyone has an opinion, it seems. Well, it is house level you're. No matter how discreet Master Fortuno may have been, news of your family's doings never stays secret for long. Things being what they are, what brings you back to the city now of all times? We have questions, and only Sharlayan has the answers. Tell me, Master Dickon, have you heard anything about an apocalypse called the Final Days? You know anything about the impending doom of the world? What, like the end of the world? Nothing like that, I'm afraid. And that's what you're here to find? Information on this apocalypse? Yes, whatever we can learn. Unfortunately, your patrons appear to be unwilling to speak with me. I wish there was more I could do to help. But maybe there is. You're a visitor to Sharlayan, aren't you? Then few will know your face. We should be able to pass you off as a server with none the what? Okay. We are doing the undercover mission. We just finished preparing a few orders. Strike up some friendly conversation while you're setting down the food, and you might just get the answers you're looking for. Not a bad idea. I hate to ask, but what do you think? Why do you hate to ask that? My opinion on what I'm supposed to do. That's the spirit. Now, pay attention now and I'll explain where each of these dishes needs to go. The tea set is for the chatty group sitting by the water's edge. The omelette is for one of our regulars, a Highlander by the name of Gisla. She's sitting at an outside table with a friend of hers. I don't have to remember this, do I? Behind them, you should see a Mihote gentleman. Catboy, okay. He ordered the oven-baked lobster. Got all that. If you're not sure, just ask and I'll explain again. Good luck. I didn't expect to get a job. Oh no. Okay, this is the girls, right? They had the... I would make a terrible waiter. It's gotta be a tea set. Oh, my tea set. Lovely, thank you. The who? I'm sorry, I've never heard of them. Or their final days. My friends and I are somewhat uninformed when it comes to current events. Now, if you wanted to hear about ritual arcane practices of the 6th Astral Era, common or esoteric, then I'd be happy to talk your ear off. Maybe? Maybe later? I'm down. Hey ladies. Hey. Well, this was the Catboy, so it's gotta be the omelette. Ah, finally. 2468. Let's dig in, no time to waste. Wow, she's singing a little song. What? The Telofroi? Ah, yes, I remember seeing the name in the latest Gazette. That and some grand claim about the end of days. Same old senseless warmongering. When will these fools grow tired of spilling each other's blood? Best stay out of it, I say. The Forum made the right choice, and I fully support our decision to remain neutral. Urbane banter with a smile. I'm just gonna do it because it's an option. You don't need to butter me up, you know. I already ordered one of the most expensive things on the menu. I was just trying to be nice, bro. At last, the oven-baked lobster is mine. You have no idea how long I've scrimped and saved and suffered to afford this heavenly dish. Fair enough. The final days? This is the first I've heard of it, although that would explain why my friend has been rushed off his feet. It must be a busy time to be a gleaner. A who-her? You don't know what a gleaner is? They're collectors of a sort. Travel the world procuring things that we haven't got here in Sharlayan. Priceless books, unusual live specimens, and so forth. So named for those folk who trail after the reapers in the fields, picking up every grain which was missed. Aye, by all accounts, gleaning is a most meticulous and demanding profession. If these Telofroi make good on their audacious threats, then many uncatalogued rarities could be lost forever. Why else would the gleaners be buzzing about in such a frenzy? Watch the harbour and you'll see what I mean. They're carting loads in from the docks all day. It's never been this hectic before. Not like this. Bro, it snows here? Oh my god. Somehow did they manage to get like the summer feel and also the winter feel? I don't know how they do it. Any trouble with the customers? Were you able to get anyone talking? A gleaner, I guess? Interesting, they seem unaware of the final days aside from whatever vague news the gazettes are printing. Even Dickon had nothing to offer. And he's the best source of gossip in the city. If the Forum does have secret knowledge, then they've done an impressive job of ensuring no one whispers it in the wrong ear. In any case, thank you for playing the part so well. Here, that cup of coffee I promised. But let's enjoy our drinks somewhere else, shall we? Maybe behind the peristyle, away from the gossips and their wagging tongues. Oh, another moment with Alisaie. These are always nice. Oh, that looks good.
When our father disowned us, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It wasn't until much later that his words began to sink in, that I began to feel the weight of what it meant. Do you remember when the decision was made to come to Sharlayan?
Mm-hmm.
Grahas said that the Forum was determined to keep us in the dark, and that Father's venomous performance was part of that strategy, to keep us at arm's length. Perhaps it was. Father argued with Grandfather on many occasions, but never with such dismissive contempt.
There's definitely something else going on. Maybe he's got good reason.
And when he demanded what justifies the sacrifices we make in war, I honestly didn't know what to say. Neither did Alpha know, I know, but never for one moment did I believe we had made the wrong choice. So all I could do was fume silently. It was only afterwards that I realized how childish I had been. How being stubborn and self-righteous must run in the family.
Sure does.
If I could have just mustered a civil response, then things might have turned out differently.
Why are they shipping in so much stuff? They look suspicious.
They must be ferrying goods to Labyrinthos.
Labahuthos?
A vast
Lahabrathos?
complex beneath the island.
Ooh.
Sharlayan is famous for archiving knowledge from around the world. Well, that knowledge is not preserved exclusively in dusty tomes and desiccated samples. Our living library, comprised of all manner of flora and fauna, is housed and studied within that underground facility.
Facility.
Still, that did seem to be an unusually large shipment. When I lived here, it was rare to even see such cargo transported by boat.
Oh.
Wait, didn't you hear something in the last stand about the gleaners coming and going more than usual?
Yeah, we did.
They're the ones we saw manning those boats. And gleaners answer to the Forum.
Question is, what are they shipping in? Why?
If the appearance of the...
No. Let's go to OCE. It's so weird. I'm in the other side of the world now, guys. It looks exactly the same.
If the appearance of the Telophoroi prompted this sudden burst of activity, then Labyrinthos may hold a clue as to what the Forum is planning.
We gotta break in. I'll put you in a box, Alisaie. You're the small one. And get a rowboat. Yeah. Maybe she's not the small one. Okay, that's gonna do this for part 1. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Well, I had to split it up because it's gonna be really, really long, so you guys get it. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe, become a member if you want to help support the channel, all that stuff. I appreciate it a ton. And yeah, I'll see you guys for episode 2 next time. Take care. Peace.